Hello and welcome to a fresh episode of Business School on Air. On today's episode, we'll be talking about pepper farming. Pepper is something we need every now and then. It's of high demand. Everybody needs to eat pepper one way or the other. My facilitator today is Tosin Oladipo, who is into pepper farming. He does pepper farming all around the year. It's not a seasonal farming. It makes use of the irrigation process so that there will be supply of water. Before I go on the interactive segment, let me have the business tips with Kuro Ngobo.
Hello viewers, you're welcome to the business tips segment of this week's episode of Business School on Air on OGTV. My name is Kuro Ngobo. I am a trainer and a business development consultant. The people you work with as staff can either make or mar your business. They can grow or ruin it. They can do a lot of things to your business. In fact, these days, the major challenge in Nigeria is starting a business and not being able to go away and leave the business run on its own. So how do you hire the best staff that will make your business work? So we'll pick 5 tips. I'll come up with 5 quick tips to help you understand how to go about hiring the best fit for your business. The first tip is that you need to understand your company's culture. Everybody, everywhere, anywhere people aggregate together, they have a way of living. They have things that guide, norms, rules that guide how they behave, how they speak to one another, hierarchy, all those things. You need to first understand your company's culture. If you don't have one, develop one. Where there's no rule, there's no sin. Where there's no law, there's no sin, which means everybody can do as they please. So first define your company culture so you can find the people who will come in and fit into that culture. The second tip I will give you very quickly is you have to ensure that the person you want to hire, you have a job description for the person. It might sound like a highfalutin word, but it's a simple phrase. What exactly do you want to hire the person to come and do? A general manager might be somebody who's selling stuff and you think it's somebody doing something else. So ensure that you note that. What is the job description? What's the person coming to do on the job? Thirdly, find a way to come up with a proper structured recruitment process. They will apply first, especially when it's for jobs of people that are learned or are scholared. Make sure that they come, they fill in, drop in their CV, write an application, do a test, go through an interview process, all of that. It helps to create the right perception of your business as a serious one. And before the applicant even comes in, they begin to get ready to do serious work. If it is, uncle so knows me and sent me there and they hired me, they're not going to give their best on the job. That's what happens most times to people who hire people that are family members into businesses. Or they just come in through the door and they say you're good for the job, go and resume there tomorrow. Make your recruitment process a serious one. What's the number 4 tip that we would like to give to you? After you started out your recruitment process by pointing out what you want to do or how you want to hire them. And sorry, with number 3, also take note. When you are testing people, test them on what they're coming to do. So don't write a general GMAT, GRE test for somebody who's coming to do the job of a social media, not social media, a graphic designer's job, yes. Give them a system to design something. That's what they're coming to do. Do you understand? Number 4 is you should go beyond the CV. CVs are prepared when people's minds are sane in order to get you to hire them. They don't contain everything that is true. They don't contain everything that is real. And they usually have a little embellishment to make them look more attractive to you. So can you go beyond the CV a bit? Do they have a social media handle? What kind of things do they put up there? What kind of followerships do they have? Do they have a LinkedIn page? Do a background check. Did they go to that school they said they went to? Did they have that certificate they claimed they had? Did they have any experience in what they said they had experience in? Go beyond the CV is number 4. And there's a 5th tip, which is to use experienced HR people or HR companies. That sounds very expensive. I should go and hire one large HR company to recruit staff for me. They may not be that expensive, trust me. People do these things for minimal cost, but it helps them to take away, it's called outsourcing. You take away all the headache of recruiting people, of background checks, of security checks, of all of that. And the people give you a report and you can find the best fit for it. Guess what? In other climes, they have people whose jobs are to headhunt, not even recruit. Headhunt, meaning I found someone in company B, I want him to work for me. That person's job is to ensure that that guy comes to work with us. That's how seriously people take recruitment. Because if you get the wrong staff to work for you, how do you get them to do the job? It's very important that you note that and apply them on the job. Remember, your staff could make or mar your business, and for that reason, you have to ensure that for your business to be successful and not fail, you find the right staff and hire them the proper way. My name is Kuro Ngobo, like I said earlier. I'll be back with you next week with more tips on business. Thank you.
went into farming because I noticed that in Nigeria we need to refocus ourselves from oil into agriculture, and I found to focus on pepper on our farm here. So we produce, or we plant, two types of pepper, which are atarodo, as we call it in Yoruba, and bawa shombo. So those are the two types we produce here, we plant here. It's a 4 months. It takes about 4 months for it to grow, right from planting, and we start harvesting after 4 months. This kind of pepper can last, while harvesting, can last for about a year if well looked after. In our farm here, we do irrigation so that we can actually produce all year round. So we take advantage of when there is a shortage in the farm, in the market. Thereby, we can increase our price then. But right now, as we speak, there's a surplus in the market. A bag of pepper that we normally sell for 10,000 is going for like 2,500 naira. But there are options. There are things that we can do when there's surplus in the market. We can look into grinding it and changing it into powdered pepper, so we can take advantage of that because of the glut in the market. So this farm here, we have about 30 rows of pepper. We divided it into sections, and the soil is really good for it. So we have about 10 rows. We planted these about 5 months ago, 5 to 6 months ago, and we started harvesting. We've harvested about 5 times now. The kind of pepper we do here, I'll just pluck one to show you the kind of pepper that we do here. This is the size we normally have after harvest, and is really good and highly pepperish as well. So like I was telling some people, that if you're used to using just about 4 pepper for your stew, for us you just need to use 2. I remember a restaurant that we supplied in Aja, Lagos. So the lady had to come back to me the following day that we went there. She had to come back to me, oh, your pepper smells really, really nice and is good with moi moi. So she had to give me a sample of the moi moi that she cooked, and it's really, really nice. So the pepper is good. It's not too expensive to start with, because you may not start with about 30 rows of. You can just start with an acre. Here we have about 3 hectares of pepper. You can start with an acre, and with an acre of pepper, you can maximize the profit as well. So it will cost less than, if you are doing it yourself, maybe you start with about 50 to 100,000. There are ways to raise your capital. If it's capital, if capital is going to be a barrier for you, you can start behind your house. In your compound, you can start your pepper farming there. So with what, after 4 months harvesting, you sell what you harvest, and then you can grow bigger. I've got friends that start with 2 plots, and they are making good money with 2 plots of pepper. So with 2 plots, this friend of mine has about 100 stands about 100 stands of the pepper. So from his 100 stands, he harvests quite a lot, and he sells as well. So he makes good money. Now he's thinking of expanding into about 3 plots of land. So this is an encouraging information about that. Also here, because of the size of our land, we are going to be getting, right now we spend our own money to increase our the harvest and the income on our pepper. So that's it. We do irrigation here, like I said earlier. We are going to increase that. The next thing that we are looking into for us to actually maximize our profit is to erect a greenhouse. With greenhouse, that we can control weed, we can control the rain, the amount of sunshine that goes in there, and all that. We're doing a little bit of experiment at the moment, because we planted some pepper early last year, and we want to see how long it's going to take. So it's in our small greenhouse just down the road to there. So that pepper is been growing now for almost 18 months, and we can actually have more, and it's still producing as much as it was producing right from the start. So we can actually continue to do that. So we're looking into erecting a bigger greenhouse so that we can maximize everything here. The other thing we're looking into is actually going into exportation as well, because we have Nigerians all over the country, all over the world, but we want to focus on Europe at the moment, because of the nearness to Nigeria as well. It takes less than 7 hours to get to London. So, and you have a very high population of Nigerians in London. So that's what we want. With fresh pepper like this, it can get to the London streets within 24 hours to sell, because it can get there. Once it gets there fresh as it is, it takes it can last to be like this without refrigeration. It can last like this for about 5 days, and even with refrigeration, we're looking into about 1.5 weeks. So, which is an advantage that we're taking off as well. So I know that a friend of mine is already exporting. His farm is just down the road from us here, and he's exporting already. So that's another thing that we are, like I said earlier, we are taking advantage of as well. Yep. quickly take you back to the source of the seeds. The seeds for that pepper can be imported, or we just buy it. We import our own, but you can actually buy it off the shelf. So in preparation, we plant in trays. I'll just show you the trays here. So you have the trays, fill it up and put the seeds in there. And put this, so you have the trays here, fill it up with soil, and we plant the seeds. So after about 2 to 3 weeks, they start germinating. These are kept in the nursery. So we nurse it. While that is in nursery, we start preparing the land here. So after 2-3 weeks for it to have grown up, we transplant it from the nursery and bring them here. So we plant it here. We do ridges. We can do ridges. We actually do ridges here, and we've planted ours. We have about 200 stands per ridge, averagely about 200 stands per ridge, and we can space it where you are planting it so that they can actually spread. So they can actually spread out. The more they spread out, the more the seeds, the harvest, it becomes bigger, and the size actually grows up to that. So while it's growing, we apply some fertilizers. We do apply insecticide as well, because to look after that. You remember I mentioned that if it's well looked after, the produce will be very much. So that is what we've done. Talking about the lifespan, each store can actually last for about 8 months to 12 months. Okay, on average, we weed this on average of about once in 3 weeks, and that is what we do here, so that we can actually have a good harvest of our pepper, and it's really good in the market compared to what is being brought down from the north. So it's highly comparable, and price wise it's really good as well. So advising the youths, I know a lot of people will say, do I have the capital? There are so many ways you can raise capital. I know that majority of the youths don't have access to bank loans and all that because of whatever the bank is doing, but you can borrow from your parents, you can borrow from friends, you can borrow from your uncles and sisters and whatever. So you can gather your capital there. But one thing that I always tell people, do not let capital stop you from what you want to do. Have a plan first. When you have a plan first, then start looking for capital, because the capital can drop on your lap. If it drops and you don't have a plan for it, you can blow it anyhow. So I would say, have a plan whatever you want to grow. If it's pepper, if it's other things that you want to grow, just have a plan first, then start looking for capital.
You're welcome back. That's all we have for you on Business School on Air today. For inquiries, call the number showing on your screen. You can send your email to businessschoolonair@gmail.com. Until then, bye for now.